Hey guys, today I'm going to be talking to Sean Ritchie about his 2 bands he's in. Very exciting. And EP he's promoting for one of his bands coming out later this summer. Very exciting. So that's coming out real soon. So we're going to be talking about that and his 2 bands and his upcoming shows he's doing. And we're going to be talking about his passions and his inspirations and all that jazz. I say all that jazz so much on here, and it's really weird. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this interview. Thank you.
Behind the bird. Behind the bird. Behind the bird. Behind the bird.
I do some icebreaker questions. So, favorite movie?
I think my favorite movie, let's see, probably The Princess Bride.
Okay, that's a good one.
Yeah, I've, partially just because I've seen it probably over 12 times. It's just been recurring. I've always, I think I've watched it at least once a year.
Nice. Favorite show?
Probably Breaking Bad, yeah. It's very intense, it's very visceral. But I think I've watched the entire season, or the entire series probably twice now. And I probably enjoyed it even more the second time because you pick up on a lot of things that you don't the first time.
That's a lot of shows.
Yeah.
Favorite book?
That's a good question. Probably The Hobbit. Tolkien. I grew up reading that. So it's just that was kind of an integral part of my childhood.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Favorite color?
Ooh, that's an even better question. I guess my favorite color would have to be purple. Yeah, it depends on the shade, but I like earthy.
Like magenta or like?
No, less magenta. Yeah, more on the indigo side of things, I guess.
Okay,
yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
Nice, me too.
Get really specific.
Favorite song?
Probably Breathing Underwater by this band Hiatus Coyote.
Okay.
They're from Australia. They're very, very cool. Kind of a mixture of a lot of different things, but yeah.
Favorite place in LA?
You know, I feel like I'm still exploring so much. I was at in Silver Lake yesterday, around the reservoir there, and I never spent any time over there, and it was a beautiful day yesterday, so that might be one of my new favorite spots, being out there on the grass and everything. It was really, really great. I'm still exploring. There's so many little nooks and crannies and stuff. It's like,
When did you move here?
It's almost been 2 years, actually. I think as of August 1st it'll be 2 years.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So you're still new.
Yeah, I still feel very new, very new.
You're from Vermont, right?
Yeah, I was born in Seattle originally, but I grew up, spent most of my childhood on the East Coast in Vermont. So,
how did living there influence you music-wise?
Well, it's a very small state. Whenever people ask me what it's like, I always start by saying it's very quaint. I think the population of Vermont is something like the population of Boston, you know, when school's in session. Yeah. It's like 600 or 700,000 people, which to me is crazy. It's a very small state, but everything's spread out, and there's relatively few people living there. So it was, I didn't spend a lot of time. I think as far as musically, it was kind of hard to get stuff. I mean, luckily, I think both of my parents listened to good music, or I guess my dad put on a lot of records and stuff around the house when I was younger, so I grew up listening to a lot of classic rock and blues and stuff like that. But then growing up in Vermont there weren't a lot of bands. Everything was so spread out, so a lot of it was very isolated. Mm-hmm. And I didn't really pick up any musically. I think it made me kind of try and seek out stuff a little bit more, just because of the scarcity of things. Mm-hmm. It was a really beautiful place to grow up, though, just as a kid. Yeah. There's so much open space, and you just it's lots of time driving around on back roads, and just hanging out, and there's trees everywhere. It's a really beautiful place. And in the winter, it gets extremely cold, but I snowboard. I used to ski when I was younger, and switched to snowboarding. So I spent a lot of time in the snow, and that's amazing. I do miss that being out here, but it's also the climate is so much more temperate here that I also don't miss the snow because it's so hard when you're up to your hips in snow like half the year.
Was it like a culture shock to like move here from there?
Yeah, it was a bit of a culture shock, just moving from somewhere that was everybody. You have to drive there too because things are so spread out in the state, but it's not like moving here and experiencing being stuck in rush hour traffic. On like the 405 or something.
Oh my God.
That's been new for me, and also just the density of things I'd experienced living really close to a lot of other people before. I spent a little bit of time in Boston before I moved out to California, so that was kind of a introduction to that. But there's just so many people here. It's mind-boggling sometimes.
Yeah. Who are your musical inspirations?
Typically, I think like as far as bass players go, I think I would have to say John Paul Jones, Led Zeppelin. That was kind of one of those things where when I was younger, I started to notice, for whatever reason, bass guitar specifically, and I heard his playing, and it was so at the forefront of things at times, but also he has such an amazing dynamic control, and his playing is rhythmic but also very melodic at the same time, and he had a lot of other influences and things coming in, and it was just kind of like, as a kid, it was like, wow, I didn't know you could do that, or it was like, I didn't know you were allowed to do that, still kind of like thinking inside the box, where his playing was just so outside of that, and it's just so inspirational, and he just sounds amazing, like just a great feel, and great sound. Cool.
How did you get involved with the bands you're currently in?
So I'm in two bands at the moment. The first of which, Cassini, I think I have been playing with since maybe last March. And it was I was playing in another band. It was kind of like a country rock sort of thing at the time, which they had found me quite randomly online, I think, through a website or something. I had a profile up and just got a call from somebody one day that was looking for a bass player. So I'd been playing with that group for a little while, and at some point the drummer in that group asked me if I wanted to come sit in with this other band, which was Cassini at the time, and so I ended up going and meeting those guys, and things just kind of like fell into place. At the time, it's funny now, like looking back, we've gone through a lot of stylistic changes, so now the band sounds kind of nothing like what it used to. But at the time,
what's the sound now versus back then?
So when I originally joined that band, it was very much like a British invasion bands, like Beatles kind of influenced sound, also sort of like an Oasis rock kind of group, with sort of a psychedelic influence. So I would sort of call it psychedelic rock. And since then, things have kind of morphed into a little more of like backbeat, funk, soul, R&B oriented kind of things. Our frontman in that band and I share a lot of similar taste in music, as far as loving a lot of old Motown and soul and funk music, and we both love D'Angelo and that kind of stuff. So it's very different from what it used to be, but we're kind of coming into our own as a band now, which is exciting. Yeah.
And your other band?
VOKES. That's a very new project for me. We haven't even played any shows with them yet. I ended up meeting Mike, who that's his project, through somebody quite randomly as well. That's how most things have come about since I moved here. I've noticed that a lot of things tend to come out of the blue, which is exciting. It keeps you on your toes. I think we had some mutual friends or something, and another bass player who he had done some stuff with before recommended me, and I think I got a call from him one day and agreed to come over and meet him, and he was showing me the music, and I'm just was really excited about it. It's very much more of like on the pop side of things, but also kind of an alternative rock pop, but kind of like very influenced by 70s and 80s music too, which is a lot of stuff that I tend to gravitate back to.
Yeah.
I found myself, I got up this morning and went back to Led Zeppelin 2 or something, one of their records, and I find myself more often than not going back and listening to older records. So that kind of immediately captured my ear, and since then we've started rehearsing together and gone into the studio a couple times to record some stuff for the new EP that we're working on at the moment, which is very exciting for me. Haven't spent a lot of time in the studio since moving here, so I'm always happy to go in and do that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, and we're really excited about the new music, so we're looking forward to when that is released.
What can you tell us about that EP?
It's in the vein of music that has been released before under the same project name, but it's a lot of the lyrics are kind of tackling sort of new things that we're experiencing here in the 21st century, like cell phone addiction is like one of these things that I'm always thinking about as I'm scrolling through Instagram on my phone and stuff, and there's things like that are kind of things that are being tackled in those lyrics, and just sort of the issues that you face in everyday life and social distractions, and just kind of how social media distorts relationships, things like that, all in a kind of satirical way, I guess. That's kind of one of the themes that's sort of running throughout.
That's awesome.
EP now.
That's really interesting. What's your favorite venue that you have played? So far.
There's a lot of really, really great venues. I think favorite that I've played so far is probably the Troubadour. When I first moved down here, I got hired to play a couple of gigs with a boy band, which was very funny. But at the time, I was happy to do anything, and it ended up being an interesting experience. I think one of the shows, it was an opening set for somebody else at the Troubadour, and I remember playing in there and just realizing how great the sound system was, and the stage was great. And it's been there a few more times to see some other shows, and as far as being in the audience, the sound is really, really great too, so I've always enjoyed shows there. I actually played a show, Cassini played a show at the Virgil last month, I think, and for whatever reason, the sound that night was really fantastic, both on stage and off stage. So as far as that show went, that's probably one of my other favorite venues, which is kind of funny because it's a tiny little bar.
Where is it?
It's in let's see, it's like east. I think it's technically in Silver Lake.
Okay.
Or maybe it's Echo Park. I'm still getting used to where everything is. But yeah, I think it's technically in Silver Lake.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't explored that area.
Yeah, I think it's off of Santa Monica, and I think it is on Virgil Street. It's the cross street there. But
okay.
Yeah, it's kind of my mental map gets really blurry once you start getting kind of east over there. It's funny, but yeah.
Yeah, cool. So what's coming up next for you and those two bands and everything?
Yeah, so Cassini, we've just started playing some more shows, which has been really exciting for me. And I think we have a show, I don't know a lot of the details yet about it, but we're going to be playing on July 16th. We're playing at Hotel Cafe on the main stage. We got invited to play with Brenda Carsey, who is doing an album release party that night. So we'll be opening up for support of her. So that's the next show we've got coming up at the moment.
Nice.
I'm really looking forward to that. I've spent a lot of time at Hotel Cafe. I've played on both both stages a couple times there, and I always really enjoy it. The sound's really great in there, and it's really great. Any show, it's the sound has always really been great on both stages. The second room is tiny, but it's also really great. So
nice, yeah. Cool. That's all my questions. So thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah.